The Oregon Ducks took what Oklahoma State coach Mike Gundy said personally and in Michael Jordan-esque fashion responded by busting his ass and giving him 60. 69-3 was the final score to be exact, and it wasn't really that close. George, I think they could have scored 100 if they truly wanted to. Welcome to the Ducks Confidential Podcast. I am Aaron Fentress of the Oregonian and OregonLive, joined by my main man, George Wrighster, former Oregon and NFL tight end extraordinaire, who you can watch his great content on the Unafraid Show on YouTube. And also, you got your feet wet with your in-studio analysis this weekend, correct?
Yes, sir. CW Network. And this week, I'm so excited because they thought that South Florida, when they picked this game, that South Florida, and they picked it in the preseason. So South Florida versus Miami. Oh, it could be a throwaway game. Baby. We got a top, 18 matchup right now? Oh, love to see it.
You think South Florida's for real? Just because they beat Florida?
They also dog walked Boise as well. I do think that they are a tough team. If Miami plays their A game, Miami's going to win. But the problem is that South Florida is they're like a better version of Iowa, a more offensively competent version of Iowa, where they just drag you down in the mud and just get you down there and wrestle you up.
And of course, Oregon's connection to South Florida is that they took their coach back in 2017 for just one season, Willie Taggart. All right, let's get to the ad read. Today's episode of Ducks Confidential is brought to you by Travel Lane County, an organization that promotes travel and tourism in the Eugene, Cascades, and Coast region. Ducks fans can find out more at www.eugenecascadescoast.org. All right, let's get straight to our first segment. These three words, and just because I'm too wordy, of and the don't count and will never count in my three words. And so my three
words, Aaron. You're always trying to create some technicality. 3 words. That's all you get.
Holy Mother of God. See, I'd have the odd O in there. You got it? No, mother. You're not gonna let it go?
No, that's 4 words.
Okay, Holy Mother God. All right, how about that? Okay. Anyway, you get the point. What an abomination of college football. I'm sorry. There's a lot of things wrong with what we saw, and it's not about blame or anything like that. Clearly, the number one blame would be on Coach Gundy for letting the team lapse over the last couple of years because he thought NIL and the transfer portal thing were going to go away, which is absolutely hilarious. But still, that was not very entertaining as far as I'm concerned. It was, if you're a diehard Duck fan, you're going to love it, I guess, for a little bit. But you can't really enjoy competitive sports when you see how clearly lopsided everything on every side of the ball, every aspect, every position. It was so much weighted for Oregon. I just thought it was just an absolute bleep show. You go next.
My 3 words: love that. Loved it. Loved it. It was exactly what you wanted to see.
Now we got to censor again.
Utter domination. Now, mind you, I do 100% believe, right, is that so Montana State, when that happens to Montana State, you're like, I kind of feel sorry for those guys. It's an FCS school. This was going to be, but they got paid to come here. They knew what was going to happen. This was part of the agreement. Right. We paid you. That way you can help your budget out and meet all your football needs. And then we go on our way. Okay. But Oklahoma State, I feel no sympathy for them. I feel no sadness. I feel no, this was not crime. This was a potential competent opponent. When it was scheduled, it was a competent opponent. Yeah. And this is the issue also with scheduling games out 7-10 years apart. I hate it with the power of 1,000 suns. Because if we want to make competitive matchups every single week, maybe you put Oklahoma State versus Rutgers, but then Rutgers blows Oklahoma State out too. This was the only blame lies with Mike Gundy on this one. So I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel sorry. Sucks, but
you gotta feel bad for the players and the fans.
Lanning and the Ducks probably did Oklahoma State fans a favor with this one, because that's going to be the one that puts them out of their misery.
You don't feel badly for the fans?
Of course, like it would suck to root for
What
a
about the
poverty
players?
team.
What about the players?
No, I don't feel sorry for the players.
It's not their fault.
You signed up for this is part of sports. Sometimes you get your head knocked off. Do you think that anybody was feeling sorry for Oregon when our coaching situation wasn't that great and Washington came in here and hung 70 points on us and the roster wasn't where it needed to be? No. Nobody felt sorry for us. So there's no crying in football. There's no crying in baseball. I don't feel sorry.
Different situations, but okay.
Get better.
Different situations, but okay. All right. Let's get to some sound here. So I think everything that went on last week was just peak pettiness, and it's fine. That's what sports are about. People look to find little things to motivate them. That's one of the reasons why I just referenced Michael Jordan, because there's some great skits after The Last Dance about Michael Jordan finding just the most ridiculous thing he could come up with to be mad, and then say, so I had to bust his ass and give him 60. You've seen those skits, right?
Did you?
Hilarious stuff. All right.
Did you look at my Ferrari? Did you look at it and wish that it was yours? Okay, cool. I'm going to take it. I'm going to make sure you never get one.
Exactly.
I was just admiring your nice car. Nah, that ain't what you was thinking.
You trying to take it. Got to bust his ass and give him 60. All right, so let's go to Dante Moore's sound, because to me this is just hilarious. I'm not dogging Dante. Dante's part of the whole machine and mechanism of this entire thing, how it became completely ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. But let's listen to what Dante had to say about Gundy, who, just to recap, last week brought up NIL differences between schools like Oregon and schools like Oklahoma State, and said, is that fair? And should teams schedule non-conference games against teams who have, triple the budget or whatever? Anyway, let's listen to what Dante had to say.
You attack our head coach, it's like attacking, my dad, to be honest. It's like you're attacking a family member. And I feel like as a whole team, it's kind of, it hit close to home. And we knew that every week that, it's always going to be some trash talk happening. But for him to attack Phil, him to attack Coach Lannon, or attack our team, it was kind of personal. And this whole week, we just used that as fire to make sure that we push ourselves and score 69 points. And we did that. And it was a lot of fire under this game, but overall, I felt like we were cool, calm, and collective. But Coach Landon said, we're going to keep the foot on their neck and make sure we score as many points and try to break the scoreboard.
Okay, so right off the bat, he says, if you attack my coach, it's like attacking family. And he brought up attacking Phil Knight. In no way did Mike Gundy attack.
Oh, God.
Dude, he did not attack.
You have missed the entire point.
No, we went through this last week. Let me finish. Okay. You can go after me. You can dissect and rip me to shreds after I'm done. So what he said was, what he brought up, and all this stuff is legit as far as I'm concerned, is he brought up one, let me go through my list here. One, fear long-term of lopsided amount of money and what it does to impact everyday fans. So if you're a Duck fan, you love that. If you're a fan of, Alabama and they beat someone by 60. Oh, it's great. Yeah. But even over time, that's going to become boring. And for the average fan, it's not compelling. And if you lose the average fan, you're going to lose ratings, which means you're going to lose money. So that was one. Two, he said he was hearing from other coaches around the country that they're scheduling non-conference. They're shying away from scheduling teams that they know have just a massive budget compared to theirs because they have zero chance to compete. So it makes more sense to schedule teams that are more on their level. He also said that Oregon should look to do the same, which I agree, because you get better games. It's more compelling. This is what he pointed out. It's better television. It's better entertainment. Going to watch a game where it's going to be 40, 50, 60-point blowout is not fun for the average fan. It's just not. Going to watch games where it's like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? That's what brings people in. That's how you cross over. And then also, I will say this. He said he spent $7 million over 3 years on NIL, and then said Oregon spent about 40 last year. That sounds ridiculous to me. I thought he said 40 over the last 3 years, which I think would make sense.
40 million last year.
He said 40 million last year. Now the number that's been out there is between 10 and 15, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's an exaggeration, obviously, but none of that is attacking Oregon. It's attacking the system. It just happens to be that they're playing Oregon. Now you can respond, Mr. Wrighster. Thanks for letting me finish. Dude. Oh no, not the sigh, not the head on the nose. Oh here we go, the forehead. No.
Aaron, you are trying to logic your way and trying to
rationalize,
trying to find some
reason.
sort of let's put this in perspective. Dante said it's like attacking a family member, and because you know what you can never invalidate, Aaron. You can, and I am surprised that how long have you been married?
25 years.
I would guarantee if this is the way that you handle arguments, that Mrs. Fentress at some point in time has been like, Aaron, it doesn't matter what you're saying and your logic. This is how I feel.
Weekly.
Exactly, bro. You've been married 25 years. It is you're trying to tell somebody to calm down in the midst of them being upset. You have to let the upset burn off.
I don't believe they're upset. But go ahead.
Huh?
Go ahead. Finish.
There's a reason, dude. And great coaches manufacture reasons for their team to be motivated every single week. Now when Oregon plays Ohio State, there's motivation. I remember when Oregon played Ohio State in Ohio State when Mario Cristobal was still the head coach, right? I knew somebody who worked at Nike who he worked with all the college football teams at the time, right? And he was in Ohio State for the game. Ryan Day told him that they were going to blow Oregon out and he was going to embarrass Mario Cristobal. I was told this information. I relayed this to Mario Cristobal. He then relayed it to the team, and they went out and won the game. And I got it. And when I was texting Cristobal 3 months ago, he sent me a screenshot of our conversation about it. Coaches hold receipts is the point. Is that they want to have some reason to be outraged and upset and frustrated about something and have their team have a little bit of extra chip on their shoulder, especially when there is some sort of, when you believe or the public believes and your team might on some level believe that it could be a lopsided game. That's why you have to have the standard of nameless, faceless opponent, is that we are playing to our standard. And if we play to our standard, it doesn't matter who's out there. So I actually love that Dante felt like that about it, because that means, see, here's where you got to dig below what people are saying, Aaron, is what he was saying is he loves Dan Lanning. He appreciates and loves Phil Knight for the way that they've treated him and everything as well. He loves the University of Oregon. And anybody that is saying anything, even remotely, even if it can be misconstrued as degrading or critical or anything, then you can let the good Lord let the doorknob hit you where the good Lord split you.
Okay, so all I heard you say was, Aaron, you're 100% right. It's petty, it's over the top, it's ridiculous, but you'll allow it because of the emotional aspect and trying to just find something to cling to, and it shows how close they are and how much he cares about his coaching. And Phil Knight's been good to him. But we agree. You agree. You just said basically in a long-winded way that it was petty.
No,
that they took Gundy's words out of context. That Gundy didn't really attack them, but they're going to just find a little granule and they're going to blow it up proportion. And you know what? No, that's what you said.
Aaron, I agree with you, but I agree with you. And can convey my point. I don't need you to try to read between my lines. I said exactly what I meant. There was no, was it a petty? A lot of things in sports are petty. Who cares? It doesn't matter whether it was petty or not. That's how Dante Moore felt. That's how the team felt. That's how the crowd felt. And you know what? Because sports is about entertainment, like you said. And in a blowout game, the fans who felt some sort of way about it because they put it on the Jumbotron and everything else at the game, put Mike Gundy's comments on the Jumbotron, and then they went out there and waxed them. So the fans who are the people who you have to honor, your fans, you gave them exactly what they wanted for being upset and frustrated by what was said. You gave them what they needed back. So you paid the fans what they expected back.
Okay,
so
we agree. So we agree. You just said the same things again. That's fine. So listen, let's shift it to this. Do we agree though that that's not good for college football?
No, I don't. It's not.
You think it's
bad
fine
for
college football? It's not bad.
Aaron, it's not bad for college football. What's
that was
bad
a bad product, dude. That was a horrible product on Saturday.
What's bad for college football is Mike Gundy putting together an incompetent team. That's what's bad for football. Oregon is not bad for football. Mike Gundy, every single school. Here's the problem here. Every single school has people with money. Every single school has people that if they want to be mobilized about football and make football good, have that opportunity. There are people who are not committed to doing so. And in the Power 4 game, there is no sympathy. There is no sympathy for the Big 12. The Big 12 cashes media rights deals. They've gotten new deals, all of that stuff. The T. Boone Pickens family was helping out for a long time. Mike Gundy has not mobilized them. This is his fault. And the thing is, blowouts happen in college football. That would be like you saying, "Oh well, when Ohio State got beat like 38-0 in the college football playoff a few years ago, that was bad for football." In a micro level. Yes, for the rating of that game, does it suck that it was such a huge blowout if you're trying to make compelling games? 100%. And I'm a person who has stood up on the table and criticized poor schedules all the time. But when this schedule was made, this was not Oregon trying to find a layup of an opponent.
No one said it was. No one said it was. No one said it was.
That's what I'm saying. So you can't control
the world
how
has changed.
good or bad the people are on your schedule when they come on your schedule.
Okay, George.
All you can do is try to schedule good games when they are scheduled.
Irrelevant.
And that's why
we all know it had
made every single year instead of well in advance. But that's a whole other story.
Okay. Virtually everyone across the country is agreeing that the combination of the portal and NIL out of control is not good for the product. Like, that's just, everyone's talking about that. That's why they're trying to get into revenue sharing. That's why they're trying to figure things out, because it's become absolutely ridiculous and it's only going to get worse, especially the combination of the money in the portal.
Have always happened, Aaron.
I know, but
And so
George, we know that, but it's different. You're interrupting me again. Here we go.
This has nothing to do
let me
with
finish.
the NIL
Let me
or transfer
finish.
portal. This has to do with
it's a symptom of the bigger problem that he was talking about. He was talking about this very thing, and that if you're a team that has a low budget, why are you going to schedule these kinds of games? You're not going to. You shouldn't. It's going to kill you. And so what I'm saying is that I think we all agree. It's just like baseball. It's just like
So South Florida should not have played Florida last week, Aaron, because their budget is too low. But you know what they did? Their head coach believes that he can coach, that he can recruit well enough, develop well enough. So sometimes I can win these games. So I don't want to hear nothing about your budget when
that's a lower
go out there and coach and put together a competent roster. No.
Okay.
I got nothing for it.
And here's the thing. You're saying this as a former Duck and a Duck fan. If it wasn't for Phil Knight, Oregon would be where Oklahoma State is, or where Oregon State is. Or Oregon wouldn't be in the Big Ten. So you got lucky. You got lucky that Phil Knight invented Nike and loves the Ducks. You got lucky. But what I'm hearing is that the person at the top is saying, "Oh, it's all great up here. It's all great up here. Everyone else just needs to just come and just be." No, that's why we're going to have reform. We're going to have change to fix this situation.
Hold on. Here's the thing: is just because you have money does not mean you are going to be good. Florida State had all the money in the world last year for the transfer portal. They went 2-10. Auburn, all the money in the world, bad last year. There are so many teams that have money that are bad. Utah, does not have all the money in the world. And what do? Come up and smack people around every single year. So it is not all about money. It is about coaching. It is about development. It is about culture. It is about all of those things. Now, does that mean that you won't face people that have better rosters at times? No. But if you do the right things, you can win these games and consistently be competitive. The issue is that Oklahoma State was non-competitive. It has nothing to do with NIL. It has nothing to do with the transfer portal. It has everything to do with Mike Gundy. Football has passed Mike Gundy by. That's
you keep bringing it back to Gundy, and I'm talking about the bigger picture. You're being disingenuous. It's 100%. I get it. Like, you kind of have to be. But again, everyone across the country is talking about the inequity issues, right? It's no different than baseball.
Aaron,
and yes, dude, let me finish. You're doing it again. Jesus Christ, stop. Dude, hold on. I'm gonna read it. We're gonna post this because I got this text from email from someone. It says, "Please advise George to allow you to speak your divergent points of view. He talks too much and does not allow different perspectives." You keep interrupting me mid-sentence because you don't want me to go where I'm going to go. I'm making a different. I'm making a different point. I'm making a different point. Of course, there are exceptions, just like in baseball. Major League Baseball has an equity issue. And sometimes a team like Kansas City rises up and can win the World Series. There's always going to be exceptions. I agree with that. But the bigger picture problem exists. And that's why steps are being taken to fix those. And those are the things Gundy was talking about. I'm not saying that
Aaron,
Gundy doesn't bear responsibility for where Oklahoma State is. I'm talking about the bigger picture of college football, and everyone agrees it's a problem. It is a problem, and it needs to be fixed. That's all I'm saying.
I agree that there is
inequity
in college
football. Then we agree.
Hold
That's all I was saying.
No, Aaron, because you want me to agree with a point that's false. I have testified in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee
Then we agree.
on name, image, and likeness. Hold on. And the issue is, and I've said this, if anybody's watched me on the Unafraid Show, I've reiterated this time and time again. The issue in college football and how to fix the quote-unquote inequity in college football is that there needs to be, number one, there needs to be a one uniform body, and there needs to be collective bargaining. That is 100%. But the issue that you're not looking at is that even when there is perceived equity, right? There is always inequity. You have covered the NBA for a long time with the Blazers, right?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Now is there equity in the salary cap in the NBA in terms of what every team is supposed to work with, right?
Correct.
But there is inequity in people. There is geography. There is geographic inequity. People would rather free agents would rather sign in Los Angeles or Miami or New York than Portland, right? Am I right or am I wrong?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the point, is that there is, even when there is collective bargaining and there is one entity for them to negotiate with, all the conferences negotiating their rights together, even then, USC, who has all the money in the world as well, plenty of rich people, they're in California, everything else, they have advantages because they are a blue blood that Oregon does not have. And Oregon has advantages that Rutgers does not have. And Alabama and Ohio State and Penn State, who've been good at football for 75, 100 years, have advantages that Oregon does not have. There are advantages and disadvantages of geography, of history, of everything else. So even if you fix the inequity in terms of the money, at the end of the day, any Power 4 team should be able to put together a competent roster in terms of, you should not get beat. Even if it's Oregon, a national championship team, you should not get beat 69-3. You should not get beat like that unless you have like a historically great team or something like that weird. But in general, you should be able to put together a team that doesn't quit on the field, a team that, especially when you've been a head coach for a very, very long time.
You are trying so hard to justify this. It's amazing. You just put way too much work to say absolutely nothing. All right, let's move on. The good and the terrible. The terrible was that take, but the good in the game, near flawless execution. Hey, that was the good. For me, the terrible, 36.5 yards per punt, and we saw them punt for the first time. The average wasn't great, but one was pinned inside the 20, so you can't really go there. And 5 penalties in the first half is probably the only thing I can pick out that I would say is terrible, and it wasn't really that terrible. They only had 1 in the second half. So for me, man, and it's come out in my grades as well, it was about as flawless as you can get without just nitpicking a missed block here or a misread or something like that. Just an absolute demolition of another team.
The only thing I didn't like, and you mentioned it already, was the pre-snap penalties. Hated the pre-snap penalties. I thought they were, in terms of like the illegal shifts, that's on Dante. We got to be better. We got to clean it up. In terms of, yes, some people may have lined up in the wrong spot, like on the one where the touchdown got called back, Sadiq was trying to get the guys lined up. Dante has to see that. Granted, you can't get lined up wrong in the first place. But then Dante has to just wait until everybody's set before he brings the motion man. And then the motion man as well bears some responsibility. You can't move when you see, like, that's one thing you learn as a motion guy, is that if you see other people moving, do not move or just stop. So everybody's set and then move again. So so it's a learning thing. And that's literally the only thing I didn't like about the game.
Well, actually, on the touchdown pass to Dante Moore, he was still moving. Did you notice that?
Yes.
That should have been a penalty, actually, but neither here nor there, really. All right, offensive grades. I got A across the board, A+ for the defense, A for special teams, A for offense. Yeah, I guess I could go A+ on offense as well, but they didn't score in the fourth quarter. Bump. All right, what do you got?
I mean, dude, it's crazy. They rushed for 37 times for 312 yards and 5 touchdowns.
31 total yards, dude.
Yes.
And that's without trying in the fourth.
Yes. And it was incredible. It was an incredible, literally an incredible performance on the offensive side. Everybody gets an A+. Well, excuse me, everybody gets an A. I thought the offensive line was better. I would like to see even more in terms of more domination. Oh, but on that one drive that they did get the field goal, I thought we got pushed around in the center just a little bit in the teeth of the defense.
Oh no!
And on a couple of the run plays, but then obviously they squared that away later. So I don't know whether that was they caught us in some bad plays or some slants, some stunts or whatever. But yeah. That was literally the only thing that I did not like was on that one drive because they were able to move the ball an inch.
George found something on that one drive. We found the weakness. There
was 3 run plays that were absolutely too much. We busted the coverage and 3 run plays that went for 2 first downs. Too much for me.
All right, before we get to our hidden gems, let's talk about someone not so hidden. Dante Moore. Now we're just 2 games in. He's only touched the ball a few times, but is this the most exciting freshman we've seen at Oregon since DeAnthony Thomas?
Okay, thank God you said that. Wow, I was really like, please don't let Aaron say
ever.
Yes, I was about to say, please don't let him say.
You should know by now that if something's going to be an ever, you better have done your research into ever. Right, I hate recency bias. So of course, DeAnthony Thomas for me. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
Now, he may turn out to be the most electric freshman ever in Oregon history. Okay, there is a possibility where that exists, but right now, since DeAnthony Thomas, that feels pretty accurate. And
I mean more electric.
We're only 2
Royce
games
Freeman
in,
had a great freshman. Royce Freeman had a great freshman year, but he wasn't electric. He wasn't dynamic like that. But I'm talking about just in terms of
but in terms of wow plays, and here's what I do know too is that you will see is that in the fourth quarter, did you notice who was returning punts?
He returned one, which I was questioning because it's like, wait, this game's over, but Dan probably won't give him reps.
Because he's probably going to be the number one punt returner. But the team is trying to bring him on slow. They don't want to put too much on his plate to like overwhelm him as a freshman. So he's already touching the ball in the run game, in the pass game. And they wanted to get him some punt returns. So, and at this point in time, the most important thing is catching the punt and securing the punt and all of this stuff. So they just want to warm him up, let him get going, and then unleash him more and more as the season goes on.
So DeAnthony, his freshman year, had 1,200 yards from scrimmage, pretty balanced receiver, and as a running back for 16 touchdowns. He also returned some kicks and punts, I think, for touchdowns. DeCorian will probably end up being maybe better all-around player in terms of receiver at least. But as far as just sheer wow factor, when DeAnthony got the ball, everything stopped.
Yes.
His jitterbug style looked like a water bug, just skirt. The quickness with which he played, and then of course he had the long finishing speed as well. That guy was just insane entertainment value. I see flashes of that in DeCorian when he gets the ball, like the reverse he had in week 1. He scored on a reverse for a touchdown in this game, jumping into the end zone, and then the way he caught the ball effortlessly, which you expect as a receiver, right? But then he jukes the safety, and then boom, he's gone.
Yes.
And so that type of stuff is great to see.
I think that moment alone is good for the team. Now, granted, he's been doing it in practice too, but it's different when people are actually like trying to hurt you and tackle you and everything else.
Right.
But and the reason why I thought that was a great moment for the team is because it sets the expectation. How many times last year, and I do understand that Tez is a smaller player, he's got to protect himself more, but how many times last year or in previous years, or even when we're watching other teams, you see a receiver and there could possibly be a cutback lane like DeCorian Moore did, but they choose to just go out of bounds? And if you notice, after that, the other wide receivers, they weren't just stepping out of bounds. They was like, bro, I got to get to this end zone. I don't know when the next time I'm going to get the ball again. I have to do it. So I think that's how you get even more plays made, is when you have people being like, yo, I don't know when I'm going to get the ball again. I got to go.
Right. And also the guy throwing the ball to DeCorian, Dante, was able to sling the pill a little bit more, some downfield passes. That one to DeCorian, and then the post he threw to Malik Benson was just a BB. It's just an absolute laser beam, perfectly thrown, perfectly placed, led Benson right into the end zone. Your impressions of him in his second game?
Thought it was
Same
good.
as first.
I was actually happy that he got a little banged up in the game when the dude fell on his leg intentionally. Right. Because there has to be, I need him to face a little bit of adversity, have a little bit of toughness as you get ready for that Penn State game. Like I want to rough him up a little bit. And
gotcha.
So overall, but his play was stellar. There's nothing that you can knock about it. There's nothing to even be critical about. He was calm, he was poised, went through multiple reads, he was accurate. What else can you say?
Yeah, when things are relatively easy like they were, the number one thing is he missing anyone? No. Just visually and with his arm, right? He's just not missing people. He's finding the open guy, almost always the right guy.
Making good decisions,
Making good decisions, and the ball's on point, right?
Yeah,
so
it's not errant for harm's way too.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, again, not great competition the past 2 weeks, but he's about as perfect as you can be given any situation. So, all right, hidden gem for me, I'm going Luke Moga. Is it Moga?
Yeah.
Moga, right? Luke Moga. Dude can run. He got to play because Novosad was questionable. Didn't come out there.
He ran like 10-3 in high school. He's fast.
He's fast. He got 22-yard run and went 2 for 3 for 53 yards again. Not a great sample size, but he looked like he could play.
And
he looked like he might have been better than Oklahoma State's quarterback. But go ahead.
I wouldn't go quite that far, but But Novosad was a little bit banged up, and they didn't want to risk him. They knew they weren't going to need him. But I would imagine if something had happened to Dante early in the game, Novosad would have probably played.
Right, if they needed him, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right. Where does that win place Oregon nationally? They took care of business. They went up to number 4 in the AP poll, but stayed at 6 in the coaches, right?
Yeah.
No, they stayed at 5 in the coaches, went from 6 to 4 in the AP. There were other teams that blew out opponents this weekend too. Tennessee won 72-17 over East Tennessee State. Alabama won 73-0 over UL Monroe. Florida State won 70-73 over East Texas A&M. Florida, as you mentioned, lost to South Florida. Georgia, though, didn't look impressive in 28-6 win over Austin Peay at all. Fell to number 6 in the poll. They kind of in the AP poll. They kind of flipped with Oregon. Texas beat San Jose State 38-7, big deal, whatever. And Clemson barely got by Troy. So, again, we've said, Oregon's competition has not been very good, but they're taking care of business in a big way. Where do you think that places them nationally with some of these powers who, some have looked great, some have struggled a little bit?
It's still too early to honestly tell. I mean, my top 10 is going to come out tomorrow.
We want it now. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, no. I'll just kidding. Give you my whole top 25, but I got Miami 1, LSU 2, Oklahoma 3, Ohio State 4, Oregon 5, Florida State 6, Illinois 7.
Just kidding.
Illinois 7, Georgia 8, Penn State 9, Utah 10.
Okay.
And then South Florida 11. But like in the AP poll, they got South Florida 18. If Alabama had beaten Boise State, who was ranked at the time, and that's air quotey because it was a preseason ranking, and then Florida, who was ranked at the time, in their first 2 games, they'd be number 1 in the nation. So to have them number 18 is criminal because we're all trying to, well, not we, they're all trying to project, oh man, I know that this team is talented, they're good. And I was listening to Joel Klatt in his top 10. 3 different times he was like, oh man, I'm going to give this team the benefit of the doubt. Why is anybody getting the benefit of the doubt right now? You shouldn't give anybody the benefit of the doubt. It should be, what have you put on film? That's it. Quality wins, schedule played, and dominant. That's it. Don't give me no benefit of the doubt BS.
Okay, that's fair. Real quick, let's touch on Michigan's Bryce Underwood. How much was he paid, the freshman quarterback?
Allegedly,
was it 4?
Yeah, somewhere around. Or like over the course of the deal, the whole deal is supposed to be worth around $12 million. So however it's structured, it's a lot of money.
Okay, they lost 24-13 to a good Oklahoma team. He was 9 for 24, 142. He was seen yelling at teammates. Maybe the receiver ran a wrong route. Who knows? But I'm not even critical of the kid, right? It's just the problem is if you pay someone that much money, the expectation is they're going to play like the paycheck.
No. Aaron,
he's still a freshman.
Aaron,
what?
Aaron,
Dude, let me finish. Why do you have to interrupt in mid-sentence? He's still just a freshman, just like Dante Moore was a freshman 2 years ago. So it's kind of interesting to see some of the reaction by people because I think people expected him, he's going to come in and just be dominant. And he's not. He's going to need some time to develop. So I'm not cracking on him, but it is kind of interesting to see what happens when sometimes you throw a bunch of money at a kid who's simply not ready, and they probably should have gone out and got a veteran guy that he could have backed up. Now you can go.
No.
Okay.
Aaron.
No.
I actually thought he looked good in the game. See, this is the issue when people
good?
when people stat sheet watch. And the reason if
he had some hideous throws, bro. Hideous throws.
Yeah, if you're asking me, and I talked about this on my week 2 reaction last night, would I rather have Arch Manning or would I rather have Bryce Underwood right now after 2 games? Bryce Underwood, and it's not even close. Because Arch, even in this last game versus San Jose State, footwork still bad, still looks nervous, going through multiple, it's just not great tape on a consistent basis. And Bryce Underwood was playing against one of the best defensive coordinators of this college football era in Brent Venables, who's calling the defense again. He has a very good roster. It was like Bill Belichick playing against rookie quarterbacks. And when he was in the NFL, but the thing that I loved about Bryce Underwood, he stayed poised. He stayed like he didn't look nervous, and he did not do anything that exhibited any level of panic. So Michigan is exactly where I thought that they would be this year. They are a good football team who is going to give a lot of teams problems. They're probably going to be a 9-win team. But 2026, they are going to be a major issue. This will be one of the, and Bryce Underwood will be one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the nation next year. And because he's already exhibiting all the signs of that, he was just playing against in a big environment, but he didn't let the environment bother him like Arch did in Ohio State. That's why I say that I liked what I saw despite the results. Because if you look at 9 for 24, 100 and some odd yards, you're going to be like, oh, he stunk and all this stuff. But when you watch it, you never saw panic and you never saw nervousness. And he was not making panic decisions.
He looked okay. He made a lot of hideous throws. I'm not saying he's never going to be good or can't grow from this. I'm saying that when you pay someone that kind of money, the expectations are not that. And so, as further proof that guys, regardless of how much you pay them and how much they're hyped, just like Moore at UCLA, they need time to develop. So I think we agree, but once again, you found a way to try and not agree, which is weird because he had some hideous throws in that game, but I'm not holding that against him. I'm just making a point. Whew, man. I don't know what to do. All right, let's get to our final thing. Sneak peek ahead to Northwestern. All right, is it going to be more of the same? Is this going to be, and I'm going to this game. I tried to talk my way out of it, but I'm going to it. James Crepey and I will be there. Is there an early line on it? What's the early spread on this?
I think it's the same. I think it's like 27.5 or 28.5.
28.5 is what I see right here. So the same point spread. Northwestern, not very good. They got a transfer quarterback, right, from SMU who had 4 picks in the opener, threw 3 touchdowns against Western Illinois the other day.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll be better than Oklahoma State's quarterback because he's had some success. He was actually pretty good at SMU before he got beaten out last year. But, what are we talking here? 55-13 again, something like that? They're on the road in a hostile environment, holding 14,000 because they're remodeling.
I'm gonna go 49-9.
49-9. So they're gonna not get a couple pick sixes. That's another thing about the Oklahoma State game. The score was, bloated a little bit because of the ridiculous pick sixes.
People were like, "Oh my gosh, how could Dan run up the score?"
Oh, it's ridiculous.
He didn't. There was nothing run up the score about that.
They didn't score in the fourth quarter other than on defense, and you can't unless you tell your linebackers or DBs to drop interceptions on purpose or take a knee after you pick it. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. So they weren't running it up at all. Okay.
Yeah. This is going to be another bloodbath, and yeah. I mean, and really, what you want to see out of Oregon in this is because Northwestern is significantly more competent than Oklahoma State. But what you want to see, and Northwestern is going to run the football. And what you want to see out of them is you want to see them not turn the ball over. You want to see them be strong against the run because they ran the ball 41 times in the last game for 281 and 2 touchdowns. So, and they're going to say, this is our only chance right here, which is to run the football. And in their opener against Tulane, which they lost 23-3, and then Tulane got beat up last week, they threw the ball with Preston Stone 36 times. He threw 4 picks, no touchdowns. So if you're Oregon, you're saying stop the run because they ran the ball 27 times for 76 yards against Tulane. Mm-hmm. So if you're Oregon, you're saying stop the run, make Preston Stone throw the football. He will throw the ball to you. End of story.
And they'll stop the run, and he'll throw some picks, and it'll get ugly quick, probably. All right. Before I go, today's episode of Ducks Confidential was brought to you by Travel Lane County, an organization that promotes travel and tourism in the Eugene, Cascades, and Coast region. Ducks fans can find out more at www.eugenecascadescoast.org. George, it was fun as always. You did a little better with the interruptions, a little bit, but we gotta work on that. You gotta let me at least get through my point. You don't have to jump in the first, 3 scenes of a movie and go, I know who did it. You can let it play out. You can let it play out. Anyway.
There are times therein that we have to correct your thinking. It's fine. It's okay.
even before I express the full thought.
It's so bad at times that we have to stop.
It's preemptive.
Yes.
It's a preemptive strike.
Yes, I'm trying to save you.
Whatever, George. All right, we'll talk.
I'm a nice guy.
Thanks for viewing. See you next time. Bye.